Welcome to Lenny's Portraits, where I talk about the anythings of interest and the many things of life. So, a while back, I visited my grandmother with the hope of consoling the pain of my free Spotify trial ending, and it came at an inopportune time. I just set up the most absorbing playlist and discovered so many new songs and artists. The app just made life and things so easy, but I suppose that good things hardly ever last, especially when it's for free. Though I can still listen to all those playlists and songs when I want, it's just not the same with all those ads disrupting the music. And I know you're probably thinking, Lenny, just pay for the app and you'll get all the privileges that go along with it. But that's a whole new commitment, one that one has to think about. And I've got so many other commitments and I don't want to add another one to it. So there I am at grandmother's place, and she's not helping at all with my grief. She's on the phone with old friends talking about Percy Sledge's 1970s concert. And as soon as she's off the phone with one friend, another one calls, and then another hour goes by, and this keeps going on for loop forever and ever. This all added to my grief, the fact that my grandmother's life is much more exciting and engaging than mine. And in that whole time, the only texts or calls that I got were people selling stuff. So, to ease my troubles, I decided to visit an old and familiar friend to take my mind off things. The friend was a movie called Bottle Rocket, directed by Wes Anderson and released in 1996. It's about these three friends who decide to start a life of crime. One of them is Anthony, a directionless former depressive type who just got released from rehab and is on the search for himself. Then there's Dignan, a total confident guy who really wants to be a conspirator and a famous gang leader, but he just doesn't know how to implement a plan effectively. And the last guy is Bob. Not Bob, not the builder. This is a different Bob. And this Bob is just the lookout and wants to be part of the team. He's also growing a crop of marijuana in his backyard in the hope that it will make him seem a lot more cool. I started the movie but quickly got interrupted by a knock at the door. And it was the strange neighbor from two doors down asking if I saw a cat. She said that the cat was black with white paws and white stripes on the belly. And I asked her when she lost the cat. She told me that it's been missing for 3 years. 3 years, can you believe that? I mean, there's no way that that cat is still around. She probably should just, move on. But in her defense, she is a tad bit strange and kind of the talk of the town. She then told me that there's been rumors and sightings of a black cat roaming around the neighborhood and that it might be hers. So, just to appease her, I said that I'd keep a lookout and went back to my movie. I watched the funny misadventures of these friends that robbed the bookstore in true amateur style and went on the run as if the police were searching far and wide for these petty thieves who have no idea what they are doing. And Anthony falls in love with a motel maid who doesn't speak English, and she brings a joy to his life. Kind of reminds me of something, but let's not go into that. Anyway, later on, they plan a big score, a really, really big one. One that amateurs will surely mess up. They are all just losers, but their characters are so lovable. Their very different personalities make them an odd and meandering group, and the movie depicts the subtle and odd humor that's perfectly delivered by the characters, and you're sitting there experiencing a whole new form of comedy, a poetic humor, if you will. It's the kind of humor that you get from engaging in thoughtless situations with your friends. It may not be funny while you're doing it, but later on you'll be thinking about how terribly things could have gone, and that's what makes it funny. And that's what this movie's humor is like. It's a realistic humor and not one silly, over-the-top comedy. And Dignan, he really wants to be this great fugitive, but he's too honest and too decent to fully become it. His actions and endeavors are actually quite noble in a weird way. But he's very much like that one guy found in every friendship circle who just convinces you to do stupid things. And poor Bob wants to be part of the group and feel some belonging because his bully brother is a tyrant and he's just a useless little brother. Of course, Anthony is to some extent the voice of reason in this film, but he's not that strong-willed to escape peer pressure. Their friendship is very much realistic, relatable, and childlike. And the fact that they have no idea what they are doing plays so well into their amusing failures. And what's so intriguing about this movie's plot is that it's undefined, and this is what makes it so indelible. Ultimately, the movie just depicts this confusion in purpose and path, and how relevant is that, right? I mean, sure, there are more acute problems than a free Spotify trial ending, but this inconvenience really threw things out of order for me, and now I'm stuck with this confusion. And I really don't know if I should be happy or sad that this is the biggest concern in my life right now. There's a line in the movie after they rob the bookstore, and Dignan is too excited and happy about the fact that they pulled it off. So Anthony says to him, "I don't expect you to be as depressed as I am, but I don't think that your happiness is quite appropriate." I felt that way when I heard my grandmother's elated laughing from the other room. After the movie, I went outside and sat by the wall with my eyes closed and drifted off a bit, dreaming of what life would be like without any inconveniences. I must have been there for a while because a shadow appeared and drew over me later on. The shadow came from the neighbor's avocado tree, and suddenly I got a little hungry. So I devised a plan of my own. I got a chair, stood on it, and tried picking a few, but most of them were too far off. So I hopped over the wall into the neighbor's yard and went shopping. I picked some real good ones too, sizable ones that you don't find in your local stores. And they were ripe too, a proper green without those black spots. And just as I was about to jump back over the wall, a black cat stood on the wall watching me, silently judging me as if he hadn't trespassed before. And that's all cats ever do, they trespass. I remember having this deja vu feeling about this cat, as if there was something I should be remembering about it. But any of this, I couldn't figure it out, so I hopped over and went back to make myself a sandwich. My grandmother was off the phone for a brief second, and she asked me about the avocados. And that's when I realized that I now too resorted to a life of meaningless petty crime, all because of boredom and slight depression. I didn't think of any consequences when I hopped over the wall, but now I've become a thief. And for a moment I felt awful. How could I steal so easily? And not only steal, but I was trespassing too. Or should I just face the truth and admit that I've always been a criminal my whole life, downloading music illegally and all those things? I tried to go straight, I really did. But when you have to pay for that, free trials don't really last. And that's not fun. That kind of fun never ever lasts. No, you have to pay for it. You just never win. You never ever win. So maybe this is a lifestyle I should just embrace and accept. If I want something, I'll just take it and move on. And I'll keep doing that till I'm satisfied. Now that sounds good. Well, it's a liberating notion, isn't it? But just not practical at all. And as much as I'd like to be a criminal, I'm not tough enough for that criminal life. I told my grandmother about how I acquired the avocados, and she gave me a good old scolding and made me take them back. I kept quite quietly, of course, but it was a total walk of shame putting those avocados back. If anything, I learned that crime does not pay. That's a line in the movie too, but it is appropriate. Anyway, I'm tired, so I'll stop for now. Oh, and P.S. I've since renewed my Spotify account, with it being the most useful app I have. I've now got all of my playlists back without any ads, and I'm enjoying all of that music. And of course, more time to listen to the Sliced Bread podcast too. So, not a bad day after all. Thank you for listening to Lenny's Portraits, where I talk about the anythings of interest and the many things of life. And if you're looking for a disparate, uncommon, and charming comedy while still getting a really good movie out of it, please put Bottle Rocket on top of your watch list today. Till next time.